If we were to see the expectation that the Fed doesn't move or the Fed even tightens in May, does that give the impetus to the BOJ to begin to move? Because you would imagine, like right now, because the markets are pricing in those cuts coming through at the Fed, then you have the yield differential relief that you are seeing in terms of the YCC. But if the Fed were to stay the course, and that would be a direct and clear signal to the markets that, hey, you not believing us and you rapidly repricing the curve isn't the path forward here. That would then reprice the curve, you would imagine, because people would start pricing in the expectation they're going to go harder for longer. Does that then force the BOJ into doing something? Because the second you start to see the 10-year paper in terms of the US Treasury get back to, say, the 4%, if that was the case, then you're going to have that pressure coming back on the YCC anyway. So does the Fed impact the BOJ, or is the BOJ going to act or say that it's acting independently, is the point that I'm really trying to get across?
Yeah, I think in my view, the BOJ will still act relatively independently. They look at their domestic fundamentals and act. And I think at the same time, if the Fed starts to hike in May, I think markets may be also nervous that we may be in a harder landing than right now, because rates are already very high. And I think we are already seeing the impact on the economy. So I think that may trigger some more market volatility, which may also benefit the yen going forward. So yeah, I think we are talking about potential bouts of a dollar strength, but the yen may still continue to benefit in such an environment.
I do want to talk about what's happening with the British pound and the euro, because the BOE governor is signaling that maybe they're peaking out in terms of rates, rate hiking. That's not obviously the course that the ECB is following. So how do you look at not just the pair against the dollar, but also the pair against each other, euro pound?
Yeah, so for the pound, in our view, we believe that there will likely be some, downside fundamental risk to the UK economy. But the relief is that the UK banking system is still slightly insulated from the Europe banking issues that has been surfacing over the past few weeks or so. So in our view, I think the BOE, it may be nearing the end of the rate hike cycle. And I think they have to consider very carefully in terms of fundamentals and inflation as well, whether they see that inflation will likely stay stickier than expected. But in our view, I think if the dollar continues to weaken, we could still see some pound gains in the coming few months and quarters.